listening to Magical Moments with Music, the podcast where we share stories about the power of music and how it changes us for good. You'll get to hear how real people use music to express themselves, connect with others, find joy, and so much more. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. I'm your host, Ren, and today we will be talking with Sophia Yau-Weeks. Sophia is a singer-songwriter based out of Oakland, California, and is celebrating the upcoming release of her debut record, Misty Mountain. After a COVID infection left them immunocompromised, Sophia went through a period of isolation, leading her to reflect on her past, present, and future through music. As a singer-songwriter, Sophia uses their emotive voice, candid lyricism, and a timeless indie folk sound to explore themes of love, grief, trauma, resilience, and collectivism. I first had the pleasure of meeting Sophia in 2018 when we worked together at Camp Creme, a summer camp for kids and adults with developmental disabilities. I was the music director, and I was honored to get to watch Sophia be an absolute rock star camp counselor. And ever since, I have loved getting to see her grow as a musician. Thank you so much, Sophia, for joining today.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to chat with you.
Let's get into it. First off, I would love to hear about a magical moment with music that you've had.
Yeah, this one I was like racking my brain because I've had so many magical moments with music. But I thought of one that happened recently. For my birthday, my mom found an old karaoke machine that was like in our basement. And I was like, wait, I need to have a karaoke birthday party. I don't have a lot of opportunities where people ask me to sing or play music, even though I love it and I'm quite obnoxious about singing wherever I go, which is maybe why people don't always ask. So I had so much fun just belting with my sister, doing tons of old Disney camp rock songs that no one wanted to hear. And shortly after that, my mom asked us to sing over Christmas for my godfather and my grandpa. And we sang some of their favorite songs. And they just resonated with the music so much. And it reminded me how connective music can be. And so those were really special moments that I had recently with music that felt a little more spontaneous. And just like heartfelt and low pressure.
I love that. I love the two aspects that jumped out to me was that nostalgia factor with the karaoke machine, and then exactly what you said, that really beautiful connective aspect of music. I love that. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Ooh, so hard. I feel like I usually default to Fleetwood Mac. Like maybe Silver Springs, kind of gut-wrenching, or maybe some Black Eyed Peas. Yeah, so kind of depends on the mood.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have to read the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. Although sometimes I seem to ignore it entirely and just do my own thing. Like old One Direction.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Speaks for itself.
Yeah, exactly. Not much more to add there.
Well, you mentioned Fleetwood Mac, and that has been one of the concerts that you've been to. You've seen some really amazing artists. You mentioned Yusuf Cat Stevens, Stevie Wonder, and Fleetwood Mac, all incredible musicians and performers. What is a memory from one of these shows that you will never forget?
Ooh, it's so hard. Each concert is really distinct to me in my mind, mostly because of who I went with. Like I saw Fleetwood Mac with my mom, I saw Cat Stevens with my partner, and Stevie Wonder with a group of my friends from college. So in those ways, they stand out to me based on like who I spent my time with at those shows. But I just remember having like such an overwhelming feeling of emotion seeing songs that I love so much live.
Mm.
I don't know, there's like a way that the music resonates through your body when experiencing live music. Yeah, I think Stevie Wonder, I remember dancing so much. I had so much fun. I remember someone behind me got mad at me for dancing too much.
What? It's a Stevie Wonder concert.
I
What else are you
know,
gonna do?
right? Yeah, this like older couple was like, who is this young kid dancing so much? So that that stands out for me from that concert. Fleetwood Mac was like one of the first shows I went to with my mom. This was like pre-pandemic. And after that, we started trying to make it a tradition to go to
Mm.
shows together, although we don't do that as much anymore
Mhm.
because of COVID. But yeah, it was really special to get to experience that with my mom. And Cat Stevens, I saw in Berlin,
Wow.
actually at this outdoor venue when I was living in London. We like made a whole trip out of it. And yeah, I just remember like one word into him singing, I was like already crying.
Oh.
So sorry, I gave you the long-winded answer because I couldn't choose one concert to describe, but yeah, they were all super special.
I love that. And I love that for Cat Stevens, you traveled. I think one of my favorite concert memories, I drove like 5 hours
Oh my gosh.
to go see Leve with the Cleveland Orchestra.
Wow.
And we did it all in one day, which big mistake, but it was so worth it. It was so worth it. So, I mean, after traveling just to see someone so special and have that experience is so incredible. So it sounds like live music has definitely played a really special part of your relationship with music. How else have you connected to music throughout your life?
Ooh, well, I feel like I've always had a relationship with music in some capacity. I grew up listening to a lot of music. I feel like as a kid or even a baby, like when I see baby videos of myself, there's always music playing. So I feel like in that way, music has always been a through line. I started playing violin when I was really young. Like I think I was 4 when I started playing violin. And so that kind of complicated my relationship with music. Like, I've always been a lover of music, but playing classical violin, I felt a lot of pressure to just perform and meet certain standards, I guess. Um, so for a long time, music in some ways was associated with anxiety, specifically like performance anxiety. Um, I also like sang in the church choir. I feel like I was the annoying kid who was like harmonizing to the radio in the back seat, you know? So I feel like I've just always been surrounded by music in some way. Um, I feel like my relationship with music started to change as I got older. I, in high school, was like part of orchestras, and being in an orchestra can feel so magical
Mm,
because you just have this feeling of being a part of something bigger. And that can feel super powerful and also relieves that like pressure of performance when there's like diffusion of attention. So
absolutely.
that aspect of playing violin, I actually enjoyed a lot. But I never really saw myself as a musician in a creative way,
Mm.
I guess. So it wasn't until college where I was like picking up guitar to learn covers. And that was probably around the time that we met. I was like starting to slowly pick up acoustic guitar and play a little bit more. And then music felt a lot more freeing for me and became more of a creative outlet. So I guess my relationship with it has shifted over time, but has always been a through line.
When you talked about that, like that magical aspect of playing in an orchestra, I felt that so deeply. I think there's something so special about everyone tapping in to the here and now together. And then, so kind of your introduction to music was more associated with like a group of people playing with other people. What was it like transitioning from more group music making to doing covers, making your own music, having music be more of a solo experience?
At the beginning of like learning covers and slowly starting to write my own songs, it was the first time that music felt like a choice for me. I don't know that that's specific to it being like an individual experience, but rather just having more agency in
Mm.
adulthood. When I was young, it was like I just played music because I was told to. Um, and so I didn't really feel like I had a choice in the matter, which is part of the reason why I resented it. I mean, even like going to orchestra practices, despite enjoying that like feeling of playing in a huge orchestra, I would, I was complaining every time I was like on the way to practice. So in that way, I finally felt like I was choosing music, and it kind of opened up the possibilities of music for me. Um, and once I started writing songs, I was like, whoa, I can process my emotions this way. This is amazing, like mind blown.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, once I wrote a song, I was like, wait, I want to keep doing this.
Mm.
This is great. And then, yeah, I've just been doing it since.
What was your first song about?
Oh, well, it was, of course, about a breakup.
Of course.
Yeah, so um yeah, I had a breakup. It was like the start of lockdown, so I had a lot of time on my hands, more time than I had ever had, which is a privilege that I um, wasn't having to work at that time. I mean, I was doing some online classes because I was still in college, but yeah, I just had a lot of time to process the isolation, the feelings, and I think like so many songwriters have modeled breakup songs for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I naturally was like, well, I guess this is what you do. It was like my first breakup. So
Mm.
I was like, this is the natural progression, right? I'm supposed to write a song about this. So that's how it happened. And yeah, it's like, that felt really good. I'm going to
Yeah.
keep writing songs.
When you went into writing that first song, were you thinking about the fact that you would probably feel better after? Or was it more just, I'm writing this breakup song?
I think it was a little more of I'm writing this breakup song. I mean, it does feel so cathartic, and
Mhm.
I figured it would have that effect in some ways, like similar to journaling. But I think, yeah, in some ways I had a little bit of like attitude around it. Like, I'm gonna write this, you know.
I get
Yeah.
it. Absolutely. So, since writing this breakup song and realizing how cathartic music was, how intentional have you been in your music writing about that aspect of catharsis?
I feel like after that, I had sort of that aha moment of this is an amazing way for me to process my thoughts and emotions. So I think most of my songs since that I've written have been about processing life moments as they happen, or maybe like things of the past that I never got the chance to process. So I think that kind of cathartic aspect is really relevant in a lot of my music making when I go to write songs. I've taken a couple of songwriting classes where they have prompts, and I think those are maybe the only instances where I deviate from that
Mm.
intention, to like, I don't know, write in a cathartic way or in a therapeutic way for myself. Um, but a lot of the songs on the record I wrote from a place of like needing to process
Mm.
something. So in that way, writing has been really useful to me.
Yeah, and I think it's it feels so apparent and so relatable in your music too, from what I have gotten to hear from the new album and from your music past. Uh, just how like honest and authentic that is. And I think that you're tapping into something that so many people are looking for.
Thank you.
So you started writing songs at the beginning of the pandemic. Um, Before that, was that when you were starting to perform? What does that timeline look like for you?
Yeah, I didn't actually start performing until like the pandemic had already started. So I had never performed, at least as like a singer or songwriter, prior to the pandemic. So before that, I was really only recording covers and like posting them to Instagram occasionally. Um, so I started playing, I don't know, maybe when like some of the lockdown stuff was like lifted and I had moments of I guess falling for the propaganda around the not that the pandemic was totally over, but I played some outdoor shows that people had connected me with, and started playing more live music after that. Um, but as you mentioned, I got COVID confirmed for the first time in 2023, and after that became immunocompromised. So I was getting sick so frequently that I just I was like, I can't keep playing. And my understanding of COVID at that time was it just wasn't what it is now. So, I was like wearing a mask to all of my shows, but I was unmasking to perform. And I just didn't really understand how transmission worked.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of gaps in my knowledge. So, after I started developing health issues, I kind of went down this rabbit hole of what's going on with my body and then learning so much all at once, and was like overwhelmed with the grief, the reckoning with the harm that I might have caused, so many things all at once, and also having to rethink my relationship with music. I think I had like a lot of ambitions of playing live and like connecting with audiences because that was something I had never gotten to do before the pandemic either. And yeah, at the time, maybe like early 2024, I thought, I'm never playing again. Like, this is just never going to happen. I had a couple of mask required shows in London, but masking is not as widely accepted as it is here in the Bay Area. So it was really challenging, and I was just like ready to give up any live music playing altogether. And slowly, since moving back to the Bay Area, I've been able to meet a handful of other musicians who are still taking precautions around illness and COVID and have some really successful mask required shows. So, yeah, things feel a lot more hopeful now than they did a couple of years ago. But my journey around playing live music has, yeah, come in waves.
And you've been a part of mask required shows since then. What was that experience like for you? Like, what did that mean to you to be a part of that?
Yeah, I mean, it makes things feel possible again. Um, Kind of like I was explaining, I kind of had like a doom and gloom kind of feeling around what life would look like in music and otherwise. I was just like, how am I going to live a fulfilling life? Because I felt so isolated and ostracized. And I had, a couple of those mask required shows in London, which were okay. One of them was really unsuccessful, and another one was better. And I was like, I can create the community or environment that I want. It requires more labor, it's inconvenient, but like if I really want it, I can create it. And yeah, I just slowly was connected with more online communities. And now that I've met so many amazing people who still are implementing masking at events and like are invested in community care. It feels so awesome. And yeah, it's just filled me up so much to be able to perform and also like connect with people who are like I haven't been able to feel safe at a show or see live music in insert duration of time. So that feels really awesome too, to be able to provide a space where people can enjoy music and feel safe at the same time. Because like I've had so many amazing experiences with live music, and I think everyone deserves to have access to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone deserves to enjoy live music. It's such an important part of experiencing music for so many people. And I still remember how I felt when I first, I think it was actually one of your, either a show you shared or that you were a part of on social media that was Max Required. And I remember that feeling of hope that I felt when I saw that. And I was like, oh my gosh, this can still happen. And I live in Midwest, and there's not as much of a culture around masking as there is in the Bay Area. But regardless, it really opened my eyes to, you know, what can be possible. So I appreciate you and your advocacy online for that. I myself am someone who continues to mask and take precautions. I care so deeply about community, especially disabled community, and making music for everyone is so important.
Thank you for saying that. That means a lot. And I really hope that you're able to find community where you are, because, yeah, you deserve that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like what you said, I mean, it's inconvenient. It takes a lot of labor, but we can create that space. And I think that gives me a lot of hope and also makes me excited too. Like it's daunting, but it's like someday I'm going to get to do the special music stuff that I want to do and feel safe doing that.
Totally. It's possible.
It's possible. So you started writing your album during that experience of isolation after COVID. When did you realize that this was something that was going to be bigger than just songs and that it was going to be an album?
Yeah, well, once I started writing songs, I started feeling the pressure of releasing music, and I was noticing how frequently people were releasing music, and I started to get sucked into that feeling of I'm behind. I need to, in order to truly be a musician, I need to release X number of singles in this amount of time. And I kind of had to catch myself and be like, whoa, wait, we're not going to get in this doom cycle of productivity and perfectionism that I've experienced before. So I knew that I wanted to eventually release an album and be really intentional about it and not rush myself into writing and releasing music. So when I moved to London, I told myself I'm going to write as many songs as I want, as many songs as I can. And by the end of my time there, I'll see how much I've created, and if it feels like a strong body of work, I'll whittle it down into an album. And so that's basically what I did. I was just really intentional about setting aside time to write, which was really important. And yeah, I feel like I was writing a song every week, a song every other week. And eventually I just had a load of songs, and I sent them to my sister. I sent them to a couple of my friends and was like, let me know what you think about these. And from there, based on their comments and my own intuition around some of the songs, I was able to put it together into an album. So there wasn't really a through line or like a theme or a concept for the album. It kind of just naturally came together. So in that way, it kind of feels like a snippet of like my
Mm,
journal or diary from a given chunk of time.
yeah, I love that. Yeah, just like I don't know, almost like a musical memory, a musical photo of that time and frame in your life.
Totally. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it feels like.
So you had written all of these songs by yourself. And then when you put it into an album, all of a sudden you're working with other musicians, producers. What was that experience like opening up your music to other people?
Yeah. So the producer that I worked with on my album, I had worked on a few songs with her prior, so there was already some established trust there, and I just really respect her as an artist. Working with a woman too, I just automatically felt more comfortable having my music in her hands just because I felt like respected by her,
Yeah.
um, which is awesome. And yeah, so there's a lot of trust involved. And yeah, I just knew that she was so talented. I was able to express what I wanted sonically from the album and have her translate that pretty seamlessly when co producing with me. And in the studio, we brought in a handful of session musicians who helped expand my songs. I think it helps in some ways that I feel like such a novice
Mm,
because I I feel like anything added to my songs by people with, I don't know, such amazing musicality just like automatically feels great to me. So in that way, I just feel like I was able to let go in some regards, while still being able to like express myself comfortably in terms of like what I wanted and what I didn't want, production wise. But yeah, I feel really happy and proud with how the songs turned out.
I love that you were able to just trust the musicians around you, your producer, and just surrender to the process.
Yeah, that's part of like, I don't know, I guess I've been so perfectionistic for a long time, and with this album I really wanted to just let go
Yeah,
and let it unfold naturally and organically.
yeah. I know that you recorded this analog to tape. First, can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so I'll do my best to describe. So, when you're recording analog, the direct imprint of the audio is going onto magnetic tape. Whereas when you're recording digitally, the electrical signals from like that are going through the microphone are being translated through binary code. So in that way, that's like how it's technically different. I would say when you're recording analog, there is an added warmth, and that can be due to some imperfections, like maybe the hiss of the tape machine. And when you're recording digitally, I would say there's maybe like more clarity or more opportunity to be precise.
Mhm.
For example, you can like edit things more easily or punch in your vocals. You know, like you could realistically create a song and like record every word independently,
Mhm.
which is a lot harder to do when you're working on a tape machine. Um, so, yeah, recording analog was also kind of part of the ethos that I was trying to carry through the album of embracing imperfection and like the singularity of each take and not being able to be so nitpicky and going back and being like, can we redo this word and this word and
Mhm.
can I rephrase this, and embracing what I did in the moment and that's good enough. Um, so that felt really special, and I feel really lucky to have had access to recording to tape. It can be really expensive, but I was lucky enough that the studio that I recorded at offers it for free as long as you let the next artist like record over your tape reel.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, it was the first time I got to record analog, and I was super happy with the way it came out.
That's so cool. What was it like for you in the studio when you did have moments of perfectionism coming up?
Yeah, I feel like my producer, Miriam, is able to keep me in check because I'll be like, wait, I think the way I said this was a little pitchy, or the phrasing was weird, or, insert criticism. And I think there are moments where she would say, like, yeah, we can redo that, or no, I feel confident in the take that you got. And I felt like I was able to trust that and let go a little. So that kind of level of like validation and trust helped me to not be in my head so much. And there were moments where I was in my head, and was like, okay, calm down, it's okay. This doesn't need to be perfect. You're having fun. But for the most part, it felt like just a really organic, freeing experience, and felt pretty low pressure, honestly, despite the time constraints of being in the studio and having to record X amount each day.
Yeah, I mean, that really speaks to just how important a team that you really trust and respect really is. Because you said that you really respect your producer as an artist, and you can trust what she says.
Yeah, totally. It really matters. I had a mix of musicians that I became friends with or like connected with while I was in London, and it really makes a difference how those people make you feel about
Yeah.
yourself and your music. Like when you feel like you're a peer who's respected and people like see you as an equal, you're able to like let go and just perform freely. But when someone, I don't know, I feel like in some ways, especially when I was playing with men, I started to
Yeah.
feel like I was a project, or like, especially being like that I'm a new musician in some ways, or like it's my first time playing guitar live or writing songs. Um, Sometimes it can feel condescending.
Yeah.
Or I remember, sorry, I'm like going on a tangent here, but I remember there being a show that I played, and afterwards, this guy was like, "That was so cute." And I was like, "What? What did you just say to me?"
Excuse
Um,
me?
no, I know. And like my songs, I at least in my opinion, can be quite vulnerable, and I'm like bearing my soul. Mind you, I also like have horrible performance anxiety, and then for someone to tell me it was cute. Yeah, so there were a handful of moments like that when I was in London that gave me clarity in terms of the types of musicians I wanted to surround myself with.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've never once listened to your music and thought, oh, cute. I think,
I know.
I think, wow, what an honor to get to hear a part of Sophia's heart. Like, oh
The audacity.
my
And it made
gosh.
me think, like, has anyone ever said that to a male musician getting off the stage? I don't know.
I
Yeah.
doubt it.
I know. I was like, that felt
Wow.
very gendered.
Yeah. My gosh. I mean, yeah, that really speaks to finding the right people and staying away from the wrong people because
Totally.
the music industry is filled with some of the most incredible creative people, and then some people who let that get to their head and have such
Yes.
a huge ego problem. And I'm so glad that for this project in particular, you were able to find musicians that like really see you as an artist and are committed to using their skills to bring your art alive.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm very lucky.
So what are you doing to celebrate this huge accomplishment of putting out your first record?
Yeah, so I am going to be having a record release show that's happening in San Francisco. It's a mask required show happening at the Four Star Theater on Friday, April 3rd, which is also the release date of the record. I also am releasing the album on vinyl and CD. I'm working with a label in the Bay Area called Lava Socks, and they are putting out the physical release, which I'm so excited about. I feel like I've always dreamed of having my music as physical media, so that feels really special. And oh my gosh, I'm like, what else? I honestly feel like I'm just gonna like take a rest.
Yeah, I mean, you deserve it after all of your hard work.
Yeah, it's funny being an independent musician, you're wearing so many hats, and I feel like I haven't really written much music in the last year because I've been so focused on this release. So I'm also excited to start writing again and
Yeah.
having time to do that.
Well, I have loved talking about your music, but I am ready to listen to some of it. So, Sophia has shared some voice memos behind the title track single, Misty Mountain. So, we're going to start with a recording of birds that you use as part of the opening to the song. Before we listen, can you set the scene for us when you recorded these birds?
Yes, it's actually not as scenic as you would think. I actually just recorded a voice memo on my phone outside of my apartment. And it's funny because you don't realize how many city sounds you're taking in on the daily. It was really hard to get a take that didn't have the sound of like an airplane overhead or construction or a car driving by. So I just staked out outside of my apartment and recorded for a bit. But I was able to capture some lovely bird sounds.
All right, I'm curious. Listening back to that, were you like transported to that moment?
Oh my gosh, a little bit. And I was like, wait, this is kind of meditative. I should listen to this more often. Yeah, I wanted it to be kind of like an introduction to the album because it's the first song on the record. Yeah, I wanted it to kind of transport the listener.
So the next track that we're going to listen to is a little snippet from the song Missy Mountain. Can you tell us a little bit about this song, how it came to be?
Yeah, so the song, I wrote it as I do most of my songs, just like in my bedroom, kind of mumbling over chords and recording voice memos. So what you'll hear is the first like full voice memo of the song that I recorded on the day that I was writing it. And it's about being in relationship with someone who is grounding, as someone who has experienced multiple mental health conditions. So it's kind of this metaphor of like someone temporarily even kind of like bringing you to a grounding place from being in kind of like a foggy state of mind. between sky and sea. On this misty mountain. On this misty mountain.
What was that like for you listening back to that?
It's kind of strange, honestly. It's kind of weird to, because I don't totally recall writing any of my songs for that matter. Um, so it's interesting how listening to the voice memo kind of like transports me back to that time and like
Mhm.
makes me think about what it might have been like for me, like
Mhm.
the parts that I don't remember. It's also interesting sonically hearing how um I guess like the song has changed in subtle ways, or like I think listening to the original voice memos I can hear like I'm kind of figuring out what the melody is going to be, or the phrasing of the lyrics and like how those things have changed. So it's also fun getting to hear the little ways the song is different to the final
Mhm.
recording. But I always love going back and hearing the first um, voice memos of my recordings because I feel like they capture a certain honesty
Yeah.
or just like rawness that sometimes the final track doesn't always get
Mhm.
as fully. So it can be a nice like point of reflection to listen to.
Yeah, yeah, to listen to the raw version
Hmm.
of the piece. So you expanded the song a lot in the studio. What did you have going into it? What was your vision?
Yeah, I knew that I wanted the acoustics to shine through. Like I really wanted the vocal and the storytelling and the acoustic guitar to be at the center of the song and have everything else kind of build off of it while still like leaving space. I didn't want any of the added instrumentation to overshadow the original song. And so the added bird songs were really to kind of build a soundscape and transport you. And we added strings. I, of course, love strings, having been a violin player. So that's something I really wanted, and I think kind of carries the song because it's kind of a long song and it's in structure a bit repetitive. So I think the instrumentation kind of helps carry the song along and
Mhm.
build a little bit across the song. So yeah, that was kind of the thought behind it, and it kind of grew naturally, and we just played around with different sounds in the studio.
All right, let's listen to the final version.
Me, you, us, knees doubled up, tucked beneath my chin, somewhere between sky and sea. On this misty mountain. On this misty mountain.
Sat under a crimson sun, our world is burning layer by layer. You say let's go for a swim, just beside this misty mountain. Just beside this misty mountain. Running through a field of green, I realized the last one I loved wasn't for me. The wind feels free and warm this time. Take my hand, let's leave behind this misty mountain. Leave behind this misty mountain. Me, you, us.
So beautiful to get to hear the whole
Thank you.
range from the beginning to the end. And I loved now getting to know more behind the song. I mean, I've been listening a bunch in preparation for today, and it just added a whole new layer.
Thank you.
For any listeners, the part in the middle, that instrumental part, that is just such a beautiful space to just like freely improvise and just like get out whatever you need to, singing wise, humming wise. So if you perform this live, that could be your improv part
I
too.
know. Wait, you're giving me ideas. It could even be like a participation point for the audience.
Yeah. Oh, I
Let
love
it out.
this.
Let it out, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Is there anything else that you want to share about this song? And
Ooh, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've touched on where the story and the lyrics came from a bit. I guess when listening to it too, I was reminded that the lead guitarist Derek, who played on the record in this song, created some really cool sounds that kind of mimic a bird call or like some sort of foresty soundscape, which I think I don't know, it just felt fun to listen to and brought me back to being in the studio and him playing around with different pedals to help get that effect. So just wanted to give that little shout out. Um, Otherwise, I have a music video that I'm putting out with the song that will be available on YouTube. It's a mix of present day nature footage that I captured over the past year and then old home video footage that my parents took of me growing up. I wanted the video to be kind of a reinterpretation of the song. The song itself is about being in relationship with someone else who is like a grounding presence in regards to me and my mental health, but the video is kind of a bridge between past and present versions of myself and like my ongoing relationship with my mental health conditions. So in that way, the video's a bit of a reinterpretation of the song. So I'll just leave that as well in case anyone wants to watch it.
Yeah, I can't wait to listen back and listen for these bird-like guitar sounds, and to watch and see like a different side of this song. All right. So, Sophia, thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation with me. I had a really wonderful time talking to you. And before we go, I just want to give you your flowers. I just really want to share how much I admire how you've used music as a creative outlet to process your own thoughts and feelings and experiences. And I so admire your commitment to leading into like slowness and embracing the imperfections of the music. And I think it's so beautiful now hearing about your origins with music and how perfectionism and productivity were such a big part of your music then, and for you to now be on this solo project and to move beyond that is so beautiful to see. And for you to share that with the world is such a gift. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet. And I'm so glad we got to reconnect in this way.
Yeah. So your singles, Nobody's Laughing and Misty Mountain, are currently out now. And your debut record, Misty Mountain, comes out on April 3rd. And I cannot wait to hear it. Sophia, where can people find you?
Yes, you can find me across streaming platforms. Probably the best way to support me would be to purchase the album on Bandcamp. And you can also get my vinyl or CD there too. And if you want to stay tuned, you can follow me on social media at Sophia Yau-Weeks. I'm probably most active on Instagram. And my music videos are on YouTube too, under the same name.
Well, links to Sophia's music and social media will be found in the show description. Thank you so much again for joining, Sophia.
Thank you.
If you'd like to share your own magical moments with music here on the podcast, fill out the guest interest survey. You can find the survey, social media handles, and links related to today's episode in the show notes. Thanks for tuning in. Now go make some music magic.